All right. Sorry about the little extra thing. You're going to see that in just a moment, but I was trying to get a few other things ready, and I had windows all over the place, and I didn't have the windows in the right configuration for where I wanted. So, all right. Good morning, and welcome to Mid Morning Medium Chat with Adam the Black Swamp Medium. Thank you so much for being here on Saturday, October 9th. It's 9:30 in the eastern side of the states. So hopefully everybody's doing well. Hello, good morning, Cindy. Good morning, Alex, Debbie, Margaret, Carmen, Carrie Ann. Good morning. I love the photos. If you didn't notice that this morning, Carrie Ann, you're bringing back a lot of memories. Well, I know you have more over there than I did, but that was really cool. So, Lexi, hello, Nicole. Oh, thank you, Debbie. We're going to talk about that. Which, I never know if you guys actually look at the when I do post the thing. If you guys ever like do the see more. Hey, Kevin. Good morning. I never sure if you guys ever see it when I open up, because I know it's a lot of it's a copy and paste thing, but I always try to put a topic in there towards after like the first paragraph or so in the description when I do it finally each week. So good morning, Tanya. Yeah, it was Carrie Ann. So yeah, so let me do a few little housekeeping things, and then we're going to kind of dive into some of that stuff, which is kind of cool. And some of it, you guys have uh already understand. You're already well on your way. And then others, you're either not, or maybe this is something in the future that you might have to look out for. So it's kind of a cool thing. But just like everything, each and every single week, it's always neat when the topics just show up. It's pretty rare for me to get to a Friday and not at least have at least one little topic. So, and um oh yeah, I could, Alex, I could do that for a second. Um Lexi. um but yeah, we but yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of times that things just fall into place. As, hey, good morning, Jeff. That it just happens. It happens at the best times, and I love that, because it's just it's one thing because it's like the past. We all have past. We all have our own past. We all doing what we can do to be the best of who we are. Even when we struggle and we have times, and we just got to keep going forward, you know what I mean? And like I said, we're all going to have twists and turns, and we're going to have trouble, and we're going to have to you know uh deal with it. We're also going to have to ask for help, and so it's just one of those things. But um I think it's going to be kind of cool that, like I said, the fact is, when these topics show up, it's always perfectly, because it does represent life. These things, I don't stress over what I'm going to be talking about, because I'll find something, even if it's really bizarre. Hey, Jen, good morning. And so they just show up. And I love that, because it always happens for a reason. And that's one of the cool things about my morning show is everything just happens. And this is a great example of what we all should be aware of, as life moves through, we move through life, and especially on this plane. Good morning, Ron. Shouldn't you still be in bed? I thought you'd be tired. You're quite the busy man. So, but yes, I want to do, like I said, I want to do a couple housekeeping things real quick. Okay. So let me do this one first, because this one's obviously near and dear to my heart, and it makes the most sense. So, most of you know, I do a lot of paranormal things and stuff. So I belong to a team, SWPI. Ron's one of the members there. Um, and so we are officially holding, and I've talked about it a little bit, but not in depth. But I thought, well, I do it now, because we do have the lineup, we have the speaker list and stuff. So I thought I would do that real quickly with you guys. So if you are interested, and you're in and around the Michigan area, and you feel like coming out and hanging out with us, that would be awesome. So let me throw that up for you guys to take a peek. All right. So, like I said, our Old Mill Pear Fest #8 is happening on November 13th. So that's in about a month, pretty much about just a month away. You can see tickets are 40. There's also a VIP party afterwards. Uh, Typically in the past, we would have a ghost hunt. And unfortunately, we're still restricted under, some guidelines as far as distancing. So, we usually have 40, 50 people doing the ghost hunt. And so it's not going to be easy to get, in some of the areas with, 10 to, between 10 and 15 people each group. So we chose to kind of back off this year, and then just kind of do a party where we can all still be spread out, you know in the banquet hall. So that'll be kind of cool, but that's completely up to you. So pretty much everybody you see on the list, and some of them you recognize. So if you guys are big paranormal followers, or you guys go to a lot of the conventions and cons, you might recognize several of these people. So a lot of people I'm good friends with, it's it doesn't take much. And like I said, I'll just kind of go through it real quickly. But you can see Dustin Perry. Dustin's a good friend of mine. He has been on the morning show before. This was back in December, so it was really cool. So I'd love to have him back on again, and maybe I will when we're getting close to the Parafest. And then John Tenney. I most of you know who he is, and there's there's not a whole lot you have to really describe about John. Fascinating speaker. The research and the amount of time he's put in the field is unbelievable. So really cool to have him back again, because we've had him several times, so it's neat to have him again. Tim Miley, you guys might know him. He does the Potograph for Pooches. One of his pets that passed away a year or two ago, Murray, helped save his life, from depression and things of that sort. And so he's been a big advocate, and so he holds Potograph for Pooches events, and a lot of that money goes to local no-kill animal shelters. So it helps feed the dogs, get them medical treatment and things of that sort, and then try to get the dogs then adopted out. So it'd be great to see Tim again. Below, Tim and Brad. Most the sad part is I've only met Tim and Brad once, and that was they came to one of our Parafests years ago. And then, but I haven't, unfortunately, I've been terrible in not being able to get up to Sault Ste. Marie for the Michigan Paracon. So it always times out to where I've already had something booked, and so I couldn't make it. So I got to get up there at some point, but it'll be neat to have Tim and Brad speaking. Another one at the other top is a good friend of mine, and you guys know who he is because I've talked so much extensively this year about him, Christopher St. Booth. It'll be cool to hang out with him and some more this year, and that'll be one of those things. So I can't wait for that. We got Tim Woolworth, another one of those guys that is really amazing at what he does with the ITC and spiritual communications. So you guys know he always brings it every single time. Bill Konkoleski, Michigan's MUFON guy, fantastic speaker. He's got a couple books out. It'll be neat to see what he's up to, recently, and especially with a lot of the stuff that's come out, but it'll be cool to have him back again because we've had him several times. And then Dave Dominic, I don't know a lot about him, so I can't really say too much, but I'm kind of curious and see how that's going to go on. So that's the lineups. I'll probably throw this flyer up, until we get to November, and that will be kind of cool. So that's little plug for our Old Mill Parafest. And if you guys are interested, you can see the link up there, oldmillparafest.com. So hopefully you guys can make it if you can. All right, I'll pull that guy back out. So let's move on, shall we? That was pretty good, Yeah. So this week, I was reached out from a friend of mine who's a very somebody on the show, and again, I'm going to keep details out on purpose because that's just what I do. And so I had a friend of mine suggested somebody to come on to reach out to me and ask me some questions. He was having some difficulty getting answers. He was not being completely believed in some of the things that was going on with him. And so, I'm always into finding out. I mean, I don't know all the answers, but I'm certainly, I've got my hand in a little bit at enough to where, Even if I don't know something, I can easily, hit other people up and find out. But oh, I'm sorry, Margaret. Yes, it is on a Saturday, November 13th. It is on a Saturday. So, but yeah, so he reached out, and of course, it's always interesting when you're having people that when they're getting into the whole, or I shouldn't say they're getting into, when the timing is right and you have the sort of metaphysical and holistic world start to dive in and sort of reach out to you unbeknownst to you in a way, because you have all these strange things happening. And it's, I laugh because I can look back and see how things were for me when I started, because like I've said many times, and I've said on when I'm in, on guest on other shows, and it's, I'm sort of a late bloomer, and but there's no rhyme or reason for it, but it was the correct time for me to finally emerge, and now it's like full speed ahead. And so in the beginning, it's scary, it's, strange, it's hard to find people to connect with, to tell what's going on. What are you experiencing? Why, why is it this? And what do I do? And there's so many things that it's just strange. And so some of you have been through it, so some of you understand, when things started happening, you started feeling things, you started seeing things, you started hearing things, and it's not, and I'm not even going down a paranormal path, this is just universal stuff. So it's neat that when I've had so many people over the years reach out, excuse me, get that frog in my throat. It's neat that over the years, so many people that have reached out when they've, and I'm glad that they did, because obviously, it can eat away at you not knowing things or being unsure of what's happening and not having the answers that can help you either turn it off and or expand it and see where it's going to lead you down the road. And so, hey, Chris, how you doing? Good morning. And it's neat that so many times it's pretty much the same, and I'll say symptoms, but not symptoms is probably maybe a bad word to put it. I like more experiences, but symptoms, we all kind of know what that is. But there's so many different things. Like even now, we're in Mercury and retrograde, and I've had issues all the time. Hey, good morning, Donna. And I've struggled, pretty bad. This Mercury retrograde. I mean, even then, for me to be laughing and being all happy. I mean, granted, I love the show and I love being able to come on here and do this on a Saturday morning. Yeah, it's early for a lot of people, but I think it's a great way because, like I said, it's best way to start your day. We're just going to hang out, and drink some coffee and tea, and you guys might be eating your breakfast or something. So, so I always appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, it's but it's tough, and I think, and I'm going to reference something, and it's probably not the best way to reference it, but I'm familiar with it, and so a lot of you probably are too. But if you think about it, even when you're having all kinds of strange things happen, weird stuff, you're, like I said, seeing, hearing, and all that stuff, there there is times where even like when you're going through, some of us have, and some of us been through it really rough. You go through some depression, and it's hard to kind of reach out to somebody. It's hard to talk to somebody because you think that, oh, it's just going to be fine. I just need to chill out for a little bit, or I just need to be by myself. And problem is it lingers and it keeps lingering, and you're not really doing anything to alleviate it, because it's one thing to try it for a little bit by yourself, but then it's the next thing is like, it's not getting any better. And you have to kind of battle that in your head and be like, hey, who can I trust? Who can I talk to that's, that I can at least just share this and, share what's on me, what's bothering me. And maybe they'll have a way of explaining it, or just being that person that's going to hear you out. So that is true, Jeff. That is true. I mean, I'm glad I don't have flamingos, buddy. So, and but it is, and it is difficult, and it's always like I said, it is amazing when these people finally do reach out and you hear them, and it's and I get it all the time. It's always like, well, don't laugh at me, or you might think I'm crazy. And it's funny is, to me, when you actually see and when they explain what they're going through, it's just like, yep, nothing weird or strange about it to me. I mean, that's seems pretty normal, you know. Uh, and it's I laugh because of, I've been doing this for a while now. So I can laugh at it. And for those that, are watching, or this right now or later on, don't take my laughter as, being mean or anything like that. That's not the case. It's, as you develop, as you continue on the path, and as you explore things and you work with people and you maybe take classes to help, refine it and really tap into things, you'll look back at the same time and you'll start to laugh and be like, why was I freaking out? But again, it's the unknown. There's so many unknowns in the beginning when you have that awakening. Some people aren't really truly ready for it because it's so out of the ordinary from what they're used to. And I think that's what a lot of people struggle, and why, when all these weird things happen, you think you're losing your mind. You think you're just, uh, uh, need to be put in a mental asylum, that sort of thing. And it's not the case, because if you think about it, if you go about your day and when you're able to, to sidestep that stuff, and maybe you got a job and you work your job and everything's fine. I mean, you got to imagine if there was something really wrong, well, one, you wouldn't be remembering a whole lot of it because you'd just be doing weird things. But when you can step away and focus on something else, and that stuff doesn't truly interfere and distract you so much, because like I said, I have a day job. I go do that, and there's times where I got to do my job. I did this and that, and we got to get it done and fix this and help this, all that stuff. And so I'm focused on that because that's what I have to do. And then in my downtime or after hours, if I got, if the schedule works out, then all that other stuff is there, and it's always ready and waiting, and they know when I want to tap in, I'll tap in, and I'll, hear what's going on. And, yeah, there's signs. Again, we're going through Mercury in retrograde, and, I've had headaches, mild headaches, almost every single day since it started, which is just killing me, because the last time I've had headaches was, I think it was the last Mercury one. It was the same thing, just a minor one. It's like it gets my attention for like a couple hours and then it goes away. And I don't even have to take anything. It just goes away on its own. So it's like, hey, and then it's it. So I'm like, what? And then I've also had some and I'm kind of tying in things just to show you guys a little bit, but I've also had some at weird times, not every day, but since it started, I've had some weird dizziness, even when I'm not like doing anything, which that's a good classic symptom of it, because, there's things that are changing. And so, right now the retrograde is always about you personally. It's never about a group effort, or it's not about, starting things. And you have to work on yourself, even if it's just meditating and just keeping to yourself, and just recharging. That's another key element is, I've been taking a lot of time because I've just had to. There were so many things I've gone through this, summer, that it is what it is, and I've had to just focus on it. So I've had to do even more. So now with the retrograde, I'm like, well, I guess it's not a bad thing for me to just be cautious still and not do too much. And, I'm still doing little things here and there just to kind of keep my feet wet. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm being careful that I'm not overdoing it to where I'm going to get back down to where I got to shut down hard again. And I don't want to do that. I want to continue to keep rising up like I'm doing. We're going to have the retrograde, I think, was it till the 17th? I think, if I remember correctly, I think that's right. So we got like another week of it, like 7 to 9 days, something like that. 9 days, I think it is now. So, and it's, it's just one of those things. Hey, Margaret, let's see, for me, and Margaret's saying, she's just kind of giving an idea. For me, it's the feeling of things being off kilter and being annoyed at setbacks. There seemed to be no reason for it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's tough when these retrogrades happen. And, there was a time where I tried to ignore them. And I've talked about this before, and I'm just highlighting it, but, I think because when you get into this field, you just you can't ignore it no matter what you do because it's going to come back and kind of bite you a little bit, and it sure has. So now I'm a little bit more, aware, that during retrograde, I know when it starts, well, even before it started, but and then when it ends, it's funny because it's almost like a countdown. It's like, all right, how many days left? Almost every, because especially if you're dealing with things. And the other big one for me was, sleepless nights. And it's not insomnia because granted, I don't get a lot of sleep as it is, but it's been worse for me it started like 3 days before retrograde, and then it's just been ever since. Now, this morning wasn't bad. Well, I say last night into this morning wasn't bad because one, I didn't have to wake up so early. But it's interesting is that I got I didn't I mean, I went to bed probably like 11 o'clock. So it's still later than what I normally would. So about 11 o'clock. But I got all the way to 4 pretty good. So I mean, I went from 11, 11:15, 11:20, if you really want to count a few minutes of getting comfortable. But um but I got to 4 and I was excited, and then had to use the restroom. But I thought, well, I'm going to just try to go back to sleep for a little bit. And I think I did. I think I got another like 20 minutes, which is weird. Normally I can't fall back asleep once I'm awake, but I did it. And so then about 6 o'clock, then I was like, yep, I knew it too. Even before I'm like, I know it's 6 o'clock. And sure enough, it was like 6 something. And I'm like, yep. My body knows when it's 6 because it's like, you got to get up now, especially on weekends. But um that's cool, Rachel. Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's what I've found is it goes. I think. See, not every retrograde's been the exact same. Even for me, there has been some where it's not so bad, and then like this one's just been bad for me. So I think, I mean, I've been kind of doing some. When I see other people posting and other people that are in the field, and I kind of like been sort of mentally doing research when I watch them, and I'm noticing, sometimes they're posting a lot about this and then sometimes they're not. So I mean, I'm kind of figuring that what's happening is that there's reasons for it. They're depending on the stage of where you're at in your passion, but you will notice that, okay, well, maybe you need a lot of work. So this is like for me, maybe this is why I've been getting hit with headaches and why I've been occasional dizziness, why I'm not sleeping so well. There's just all these things that are happening. And who knows, maybe the next one it'll be minor things or maybe nothing at all. And then I'll be, but see, that's the thing is maybe because I'm down, again, I can't, again, it's for self, to fix it and recover and relax. But, I could easily reach out and I do, there's a couple of people I chat with and, kind of say, hey, man, I had this kind of going on. They're just like, oh, and they're there to listen to it. But, it's just how it is. So, but so Rachel, who knows? Maybe this is the time where you're in good shape. You've done enough for yourself that you didn't need any, thing to really kind of shut you down. So like for me with the headaches, I got to slow down because I don't want to do much and aggravate it or make it worse. And then the sleepless stuff, that's always, I don't know what that is, but but the dizziness, maybe I look at it as maybe I'm moving too fast, because you get older, you can't really do the spinning around in circles like kids can do. So I look at the dizziness as more of a sign, and I'm sure there's other things, but I look at it as like, okay, you might be doing too much because you're getting off balance, so you need to refocus and slow down. Which is funny because it happened Thursday. I was cooking a dish I never cooked before. It's a Viking dish, because you got to remember I have Viking in me. And I was cooking it and I was running around the kitchen because it's like, I got to do this. I got to do this. And there was all this for this one dish. And there was a point like right in the beginning that I started like losing my balance. And I'm like, whoa. So I kind of grabbed onto the counter. I'm like, okay, slow down a bit, slow down a minute. And sure enough, I slowed down and then it went away and then I was able to finish. So that's how I interpret it for me. Now it might be different for others. So let's see. What did I miss? Yeah, these are set, Jen. These are set messages you can use the retrogrades for the purpose they serve. They are being disguised in a blessing in disguise. Yep. Yeah, let's see. Margaret, what I'm talking about is like things like my printer dying after work fine the day before. Yeah. Equipment has always been sort of that other minor thing, that, computers, anything electronic has a potential of having issues. And I've had a few at work because I work in audiovisual world. And so we've had some strange things this week as well. Right. Let's see. Let's see. I missed you the other day. I think it might have been because I was born during. Oh, that's right, Rachel. That's right. You did say that. Yeah. See, we did talk about that offline. You were born in the middle of a retrograde, which is, amazing as it is. And who knows, maybe you're just a little bit more immune to us, but then again, I think we talked about it in the messaging. I think I said, that's probably a thing, because we need strong people like yourself to, when people are struggling, that you're going to have to step up or something like that, and that could be a blessing and or curse depending on how you want to look at it. So. And Debbie, what we got? Yeah, lost balance on the steps the other day for no reason. Almost broke my finger to keep from. I see. It's isn't it weird? And I mean, we all have weird moments and things like that, even in just normal, run of day life. But we notice it so much more right now. And of course, you can't say 100 million% that it is the retrograde, because there's not a ton of facts that can support it, but it is one of those that you kind of just have to sit there and go, maybe. So, uh, it is what it is. but but I do want to make sure I highlight it, some things as we get to about the top of the hour here, but half an hour left. You know, if people, or you know anybody that's having weird things, and maybe they've shared some stuff with you, always make sure you're that ear for them, regardless of whatever the situation is. And obviously, if they're talking some really strange stuff, there's plenty of people out here that, we're all willing to go back and forth, send some messages, and hear what's going on. And if you are one of those people that are watching right now, or if you're listening to the podcast version of it, or you're seeing this, later on in the week or day or whatever, if you're experiencing things that, again, might seem like paranormal in a way, where you're hearing things and maybe you're seeing, universe stuff and stuff, kind of like that's why I threw the background up, let me do this way. This might be better. There might be kind of a lot of things that happen that you you're just unsure of, and there's all these things. You might have angelic beings, you might have strange um entities coming to you and talking to you, or giving you advice, or sharing, any of that stuff. So, I get it if you're afraid of it. I get it that it's completely off the wall, because most of the time we were taught that stuff's all make believe, and it's not real. And yeah, it was Margaret. I know. See, I'm blocking it because it is me. I'm the chakra man. Except I'm not going to sit like that, because you wouldn't see my feet anyway. So I can't get up like I can't get the chair up any higher to where you can see my feet. So, but yeah, I mean, if you're going through things, uh, just take it day by day. Uh, Reach out to people that you feel comfortable with, because you don't want to do this completely alone, because y- you've got to voice it. I think and that goes with anything in life. If you're struggling with anything, you got to find that one person that you can talk to, that can help you out, and again, or just be the ear. And this type of stuff, you know is it's up there. I mean, it ranks up there in this weird, wacky stuff. And granted, we don't believe that, but we're just used to it by now. But you know if you're not afraid of it, and you other than just being like, I don't understand it, or it's really weird, and but you still have that feeling, you want to know, again, reach out to people. There's so many of us. I mean, I of course, anybody can reach out to me because obviously you guys are watching it, but I there's so many others out there, and yeah, you are going to probably run into some that have no clue. They're just going to be making it up, and that's unfortunate because that a lot of us that really do care. Even if we, like I said earlier, I might not know everything. Well, I know I don't know everything, but I certainly am going to be curious to find something out or reach out to others and ask them the question and be like, hey, have you ever had this? Or do you know about this? And because I'm going to find out, because even then, the person I'm reaching out to might have somebody that they know that might know. So uh, it is there is a circle out there that we all got to do it. We all got to just help each other out as best we can and get us through it, as best we can. We just got to do the best that we can. And I, you know, again, I have people I reach out to specifically, and they mean a ton to me for it because again, I've been horrible to where it was tough to reach out because even though I know you're supposed to, but I just kept thinking, oh well, I mean, I've been doing this a while. I should be able to handle everything, I mean, I'm a tough guy, I got Viking in me, but no, you even that doesn't cut it. There is a blend that you need to do. And once you're comfortable with, whatever belief system you want, which is completely fine, but, your guides, your angels, any other deities and gods and stuff that you are connected with, however they can help you out, that's definitely one level, you know what I mean? And I think that helps you so much on a mental and spiritual level. And I think, the human contact is just that, even though it's not necessarily an actual physical one, it's just that you have that balance, talking to somebody, sending a message, when you read their words, like I get to read your guys' comments, you know, that's a connection. That's a physical connection because you guys wrote it. You put your energy into it, whether it's something hilarious or whether it's something serious or you got questions. There's a physical contact there. You know, bear with me. I know there's not a real true physical thing, but I'm talking from an energetic level. We are connecting. You know, you guys seeing me, you hearing me. There's a connection there. You know, whether you are into it or not, whether I suck or you really enjoy it, but there's that physical connection. And that's just how I see it. That's my humble opinion. Oh, yep. Thanks, Debbie. That's great. Yeah, it's not a weakness to ask for help. It takes strength. It does. Oh, it certainly does. Because when you really finally have, and it's not so much that like even then you're waving the white flag or you're giving up, because you're going to ask for help. That's not the case either. It's because it's the way it's supposed to be. We're not immune. We're not bulletproof to life. There's always going to be things that we can handle very well, and there's going to be things that we can't. And that's just how it is. We need to have highs and lows. We need to have balance. And so if we didn't have that, it would be a really interesting world. But that's just it. And that's why I think, we have to have a balance of you got to have all those on the other side. And even then, I forgot to even mention that, even your family members, your loved ones that have passed on are certainly another big influence on that side to helping you out. They might not have all the powers to give you this and that, but like some of your guides and the creators and gods and stuff, but they're there and they're always going to give you that love and support, at least the love part, you know what I mean? So it's really kind of cool, and it's neat when you really sit back and think about it. Like I said, I spend time, a lot of my drives to and from work, I have an hour and 10 minutes, one way, and I do that twice. So 2 hours and 20 minutes, Monday through Friday. I have a lot of time, to think for, over an hour. And it's neat because this is the things I go through. And I sometimes, it's neat when you come up with this and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that, and it's just, but that's the whole process of spending that time to be able to deep dive things. And that's what I love. I love doing that. Whether I understand it still, that's another thing. But to be able to have a light bulb moment or aha moment, and you're like, whoa, man, I never thought of it that way, and no, I've never heard anybody explain it like that, and it's like, hmm, all right, I think we got something. So, it's kind of fun, and uh, at least I'm fortunate, not that I really uh, I don't really like doing that drive anymore, but you know, there is other sides to it, that again, the being able to think through things and work out situations or, you know, scheme things like, when I'm trying to come up with something creative to do, whether it's here or whether it's, in some of my other passions and things. So uh it's it's like a blessing. I mean, it's a blessing in disguise that, I have those moments. And, granted, I would love to be doing other things. I'd love to be doing hardcore meditating or doing some healing or whatever it is, or you know, for those 2 hours and 20 minutes, could do so much in that amount of time. But that's just the way it is for me right now. That's my path. That's the way it's been set up. And who knows when it'll change? I mean, it could always change. I've been doing it for a long time, but there's always that possibility that, if I don't need that anymore, then other things will happen and that road will change. But um, so I'm trying to think. I keep knocking things around. Um, yeah, I gosh, I'm trying to think of where else I was going to go with that. I did not write notes for this one. I was just going to kind of free will it, you know what I mean, and just kind of like, but it is what it is. Uh, oh, I didn't think about it. Yeah, 'cause see, I didn't know how long I would, because sometimes I can keep going on certain things and sometimes I can't. But I, I was, I did, and just to kind of update people, because I had another, and so those that know, obviously that have been watching the last few weeks, those that know, I had another, I found another moment, that was able to squeeze in. I had another moment with Silazar. So those that know him, I had a session with him this week, and it was different. It was another one of those different things. And so, hang on one second, Kevin. I will answer that. And it was a great session with him, and it, it was much like the last session I had with him. I think it was the week before. Yeah, because not this week that we were just finishing up, but the week before, I couldn't connect with him because that was the beginning of uh, Mercury retrograde. But yeah, it was the week before that I had my last one, because I wanted to so badly, the other week, and I didn't, because things were just all messed up. But I had one this week with him, and I kind of had some. It was same thing. There were some weird moments that happened that he actually, I mean, came, as soon as I was like, I got into meditation, and he, appeared to me, and I connected, and I was like, hey, I feel like I'm ready. I know I'm sorry I couldn't make it last week because you obviously knew that things weren't really well for me. But he reached out, and so what he did was he grabbed both of my, not so much the wrist, but he grabbed more of the arm, but just, below the wrist. But he grabbed him in a way that it didn't feel like true hands were grabbing. It was more like he was kind of like putting fingers down, sort of like this, because all I felt was I could physically feel it in my real arms, that I felt this pressure. And then I felt, some weird pulsating, like your muscles are twitching in a way all the way through, my forearms and stuff. And I could really feel it in my right arm more than I could my left, but I could feel it physically as I was in the meditation. And I'm like, okay. And I knew that still has to do with all the healing that I'm going to be, obviously, that's still under development, that's upgrading and changing for me, because I feeling that energy pulsating through my arms made a huge difference, and um, I still felt it the whole next day, because I did this in the evening. I think it was either Tuesday night or Wednesday night, and I think it was Tuesday night. And then I just remember feeling my forearms all day, even into the next day, that I just sort of had these weird pulses going on. And it was not muscle twitching, because they weren't, the muscles weren't just, jumping. Everybody's ever had a muscle twitch. You can watch your skin jumping, It wasn't, they weren't moving. There wasn't even any movement at all. You could just feel it internally. And so it was kind of cool because it just kept feeling that. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm into it. I get it. And I know it's developing. Hey, good morning, Dad. And I knew it was something to do with that. So I was like pretty happy about that. So I know what exactly it meant. I don't know. I know it's for the healing. I just don't know to the greater details yet. But again, I'm doing session by session with him, and it's just happening the way it's supposed to happen. So let's see. What do you got, Margaret? Does anyone else have to shut the video feed off? And it's happened on other shows. It's the weirdest thing. Like you'll see it and it'll freeze, and I don't know if it's a true Facebook issue. I don't know if it's because on my side everything looks okay. I'm not glitching on my screen because I'm watching myself talk to you guys, so it's kind of weird. I'm talking to myself, looking at myself. It's weird. And I don't see it glitching even though I'm going through the software, so you would think that would glitch, but I get it on your guys' side that it might. So if for whatever reason you guys don't hear me, or it my image freezes, yeah, just do a refresh of your browser, whatever window you're watching it in, or if it's on your phone, just relaunch it and see if it comes back. It usually does clear it, but I know it's weird. It's random at times, and so who knows. Okay, thanks, Debbie. She was talking, that happened before. Yeah, and that's the thing, is you think about it, again, my AV side coming out, you know, understanding the whole thing with doing live videos, doing the video conference, which not really a video conferencing, but it's like it. Remember, video takes up a lot more bandwidth, and again, I'm not going to get technical on you guys, but it eats up a lot more space. Typing a message, there's like nothing. Doing a video, there's this big chunk of information that's going out. If everybody's waking up and every single person in the neighborhood is on the internet, all it's doing is squeezing things down. So it'll struggle to get through again. And it could be Margaret. It could be retrograde. I actually do know the technical side of that though, which I'm explaining. So the video does eat up a lot more space. And so then if a lot of people are in it, it's like, imagine a highway, you got so much information. Well, it's going to squeeze it all down to one lane. And that's a lot of fighting back and forth to get that information to go through. So if you ever notice that, if it's not so much your computer, your mobile device, it could be just the network as a whole, because again, live video really eats up a ton of space. So, and that's why you would see glitches. That's why you would see it freezing. It's just because that information's bogged down somewhere. So, yeah, that's a great way to put it, Debbie. It is bottlenecked. I wanted to go back up to Kevin. So how do we develop our gifts or powers? Well, Kevin, the main thing about it is, like I've said a few times, you reaching out to people and whoever you feel comfortable with, and seeing what else they can provide for you, seeing if they're willing to work with you, and again, that'll dependent on schedules and things like that. But there's also there'll be opportunities to where they could recommend maybe a book to get you started, which might help start honing things in. There's some places that have online classes that can help. I'm trying to think of the one off the top of my head. I can't think of it real quickly. There's one place that they got several that are. I've downloaded one. I bought one course. I just haven't had the time to sit down and do it, but it's another one of, most of you guys know I do more of a modern shamanic journey, shamanic practices. They have different styles of shamanic, classes, and they're kind of cool because I've seen a few that I'm like, it'd be kind of neat to really, open up a little bit more with all the different, there's different versions of shamanism, even though there's still a root to it. It's all nature based and stuff, but there's different aspects that, when I learned it, I took a couple classes, and you can only learn so much, in a short amount of time. And a lot of it is mostly just learning to, capture it, memorize it. So that way you can go back home and replay those moments. The classes I took, you could record the meditations. They were all guided by the instructor. which was really cool. And so you could go home and redo those. You can still hear the same voices. You can still feel the energy that was at that time. And I did that, for years when I took my first shamanic classes. Was I would replay those recordings, put some headphones on and just sit there and go through it again until I felt comfortable that I didn't need it anymore. So great, Debbie. Great. Yep. That's awesome. So I know I've talked about it on the show before that hopefully, in the springtime, so we're, May to June, somewhere in there, I want to bring out the school that I learned from, which, they're out in Cleveland. And in fact, they actually are holding the exact class that I am partnered with. I just can't make it to the one this year. On the 23rd and 24th, they're holding the exact same class that I did do. So it's Shamanic Journeys is the name of it. And it's by the school that I'm going to partner up for just that class. But the school is called Midwest Native Skills Institute. And it's a couple days long. It's all Saturday and most of Sunday. And you go through all the steps. You go through learning, the meditations, learning the shamanic, the modern, more modern versions of shamanic journeying and stuff. And Jennifer kind of beat me to it, but yeah, meditate is you're doing meditation exercises constantly, and it's getting you built up so that way you have everything in your possession in a way when you get to go home and then practice those moving further. So Kevin, like I said, yeah, a lot of it is just getting with the people and seeing what they can do to help you. It is important because, you can read books and even then I'll tell you the book that the classes are based off of. And it's called Awakening the Spirits by Tom Brown Jr. Awakening the Spirits. And I don't have a photo of it, but you can look it up. You can still buy it, the book, and I'm sure you can get it in digital download too. But Awakening the Spirits by Tom Brown Jr. And the first half of the book is a little bit of storytelling, but it pulls into, when you get to the halfway part of the book, it gets into a lot of the exercises in the what you're unlocking, how you're doing it, and what the meditations need to be to continue your growth. It's a fantastic book. I've read it several times. It's actually would be kind of fun to reread it again now, because it's been probably about 3 or 4 years since I read it again. But but it helps, and the learning from Midwest Native Skills, and my good friend, the head, the head instructor, the guy that owns it, Tom Laskowski, he does a fantastic job teaching it. And I've been called personally to just want to be able to work with him and, learn everything I can about the class, from a teaching aspect, but at the same time, partner with them. And, maybe down the road, whenever it is, I can take over the class and be the head guy for that aspect of it. Not that I want him to leave. I already told him, I'm like, I don't want you to go, but I just want to be, right there. If you do want to pass the reins off, I'll be that guy. And but yeah, we want to do that in the spring of next year. There's still some details, but we're hoping by the end of the year or just in the beginning of new year that we'll have that date officially firmed up, and then we can promote the crap out of it. And so that way anybody that wants to make it out, it should be in Northwest Ohio. That's the plan. And if that works out, it'll probably the location of where we're going is, one of my good friends. And if it happens, I mean, the location's energy is off the rails. Cool. And it'll be great to have it there, and it'll be a good time. So even then, Kevin, if you're interested, you can read that book. That'll get you started. And then, if you want to hang in there until the spring, you could certainly sign up and come out for the weekend and really, explore it even more. Like I said, I could get you some names of one of the other, Jen, what's the name of that online place? Jen will know. Jen, what's the name of that school? Start with a U. I can't think of it. They had a lot of the different classes and stuff, but she'll know it. I have it. I just gotta look it up, and I gotta go dig for it, and I don't wanna start digging and just, like, stare at my phone here, but I'll have Jen post it down in the comments. So it's an online, school that you can take a lot of different things, and you can go through their catalog, and it's not just all, the, shamanic stuff and all that. I mean, there's tons of other things you can take, but it's a really cool, place that's just got so many different things that you can get into, but, um, absolutely, definitely I would check it out. So, Margaret, there would not be an online thing. Well, I mean, I don't know as far as never thought about it. I don't think it's ever come up to try to do something. I get it, but, with the way times are and people can't always travel. Um, it's something that it could be looked into as, for people that can't make it or there are other states and they can't afford to fly and things like that. There could be. I mean, it would be a lot of being on a computer and or mobile device, for a long period of time. So you'd be, you know, hopefully you would have a good, data plan or Wi-Fi, internet situation. Cause yeah, you would be connected through video for a long time unless it's done in like, you know, here's a couple hours that we'll sit together and then, we'll come back the next day and do things. And maybe it'd be like a full week where it's only like an hour or two a day type of thing. That could be something that could be arranged. I have no idea. I've never even thought of it, but it's a possibility. So, but yeah, it's something we can always look into. Um, but yeah, and oh, and by the way, if the class works out, which we pretty much think it will, yeah, people will have the opportunity that if they wanted to, they'd be able to camp on the actual location. So if you want to really immerse yourself into everything, you can certainly camp. If not, you're about 10 to 15 minutes away from hotels. So there's certainly that as well. And and there's amenities and all that stuff. So it's not like, even if you stay there, it's not like you're going to go out into the woods and do your business. That won't happen. But because it's actually at a home, it's just that the property is quite large. So but that'll be cool. So about 7 minutes left. But yeah, so hopefully, Kevin, that helps you out a little bit more. Like I said, it's there's a lot, there's a lot that's out there. It's just getting it to find out what you're calling for is, and like you can, if you look it up and you can see the awakening spirit, you can even see if if it resonates with you. Like if you read like maybe the synopsis of the book and it doesn't hit home with you, that's probably not the right one. See, now it was for me because when I when I read the description of the class and then read the book, it made a whole, I mean, everything just started pulling on me. It's like, yes, yes, yes. So that's what, for you, that's maybe the hardest part right now is figuring out where you need to point to go and what's going to feel good for you. So, you know, and then we can talk, I know we can message each other and offline and kind of dive into that a little bit more and see if it's things like that, or we can try to find what is, you know what I mean? Like I said, even religions, can easily pull in there that you feel connected to this and that's the one you want to go with. Great. You know what I mean? You got to go with what your heart and your that pull, that gravitational pull to this is what, it's all about. So, um, but yeah, we can talk. Let's see what else. One thing I wanted to talk about real quickly. So next week because we're getting close to the end here, 5 minutes. I should be okay for next week's show should be perfectly fine. The 23rd, that's we we don't. It should work out. It should work out. I should be able to get the show in. It shouldn't be a problem because that's a big day. There's a lot going on that day. Uh, so it should, if it doesn't, I mean, I will let you guys know pretty soon. So if not, if for any strange reason I can't do the morning show on Saturday the 23rd, I can easily push it to the Sunday the 24th, which is my backup plan at this point. So I'm just kind of giving you guys a little bit of a far look right now. So if the 23rd doesn't work out for me, which I hopefully will know soon, then we'll push it to the 24th, and obviously I'll post the show accordingly. The 30th should be okay because I would like to obviously do, it's the day before Halloween, so I would like to have sort of a Halloween kind of show type of thing. Uh, in addition to that, I think I talked about it the week before, so I would be kind of down for doing, doing some readings, whether it's on the 30th or it's on the 31st. I don't know exactly, but I would be pulling my Halloween oracle cards. So just to kind of keep you guys somewhat interested. So hopefully that'll be sometime that weekend. I probably won't do it on Halloween, even though it would be great, but I would have to do it early in the morning because obviously, we'll be going out, with the kids later on. So we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, that's another one we'll know. After that, the 6th should be okay. The 13th is, well, Father, if you would have shown up in the beginning of the show, you would have seen me describe the entire thing from top to bottom, because everybody in the chat room could sit there and make fun of my father right now and saying, well, if you would have been here at the beginning of the show, you would have heard him talk about the Old Mill Parafest 8. Take that, Dad. In fact, wait, let me see. Do I still have it ready? Nope, I took it out. Never mind. I even had the poster ready to go. But yeah, so that at least get, like I said, that gets us into a little bit into November. And then obviously I already talked about it. That on, November 13th is the Old Mill Parafest, but I'm not going into any details. If you're not going to be awake to see my show, Dad, then that's your problem. You gotta remember, most of you don't have a clue about my dad. So for me, what I'm doing right now is nothing compared to what he would do back to me. In fact, he'll probably call me afterwards and give me a bunch of stuff. Anyway, so you guys aren't going to see all the stuff I got to deal with after the show. So I get to finally get a little poke at him for a change instead of the other way around, giving me a hard time about stuff. So, exactly, Debbie. I like that one. Sleeping in. What are you, retired or something? Yeah, he is. His birthday's in November, so we can all really give him a hard time in November. In fact, the day after his birthday will be will be another show, a morning show. So we can all really hit him hard. So, but all right, we're down to a minute left. Yeah. So other than that, yeah, awesome time. Always glad to hang out with you guys and have a good time, and appreciate everybody that stopped by. I know some people can't stay the whole time, or you're maybe watching this back at another point in the day or the week, so it's always great. And yeah, like I said, we'll be back again next week. I know I didn't get to post a lot. Yeah, like I said, the retrograde has really kind of been a pain for me, and so I'm hoping that, it'll leave me alone today. I can kind of get a few chores done around the house, and tomorrow we're trying to get out of the house for a little bit, so hopefully that'll work out too. And it'll leave me alone for a couple days, and then I don't even want it to return on Monday. So we'll just deal with it. That's all you can do right now. But anyway, I'm out of here. You guys have an awesome rest of your day, an awesome weekend. I know at least a lot of the rain that a lot of us had in the surrounding areas, finally it looks like we got the rain out of the way. So now it was bright and sunny and full, no clouds in the sky when I went out there. So I will enjoy that. I'm actually going to get outside for a little bit, actually do some lawn work. But, that's the good stuff. Anyway, all right, guys, thank you so much for being here. And we'll do it again next week. I'm going to try to post a little bit more and kind of get you guys watching the page a little bit more often. So I will do that. You guys are so welcome. Thank you so much. You guys have been watching Man, I am just see, I gotta take a sip. Coffee. All right, you guys have been watching Mid Morning Medium Chat with Adam the Black Swamp Meeting. Thank you so much for being here again. As I said many times, I, with all my love, light, and peace to each and every single one, thank you, and we will see you again soon. Take care.